Hey everyone, what's going on? I'm back with a proper breakdown that actually explains what changed with the latest hotfix for Jurassic World Evolution 3, how it might affect your parks and saves, and some practical tips to help you get the most out of the patch. If you've been fiddling with research trees, rearranging the science center, or trying to keep your fossil operations from grinding to a halt, this update touches a few of the things that were giving players grief. And I want to walk you through the important bits in a way that's useful, whether you're a newcomer or you've been knee-deep in pen fences since launch. The build patch we're covering is the hot fix that rolled out recently as a targeted response to a handful of regression bugs. All right, let's get into what matters and why you should care. First off, the reason this hot fix exists is simple. After a major update, a few unintended side effects started cropping up across different parts of the game. Some were fairly minor, others could actually break progress or stall core systems. The things that got fixed in this patch are ones players reported most frequently. Research nodes disappearing from certain challenge screens, fossil extraction getting stuck when structural changes were made around the science center, a handful of rare crashes related to blueprint splitting, and some pathfinding annoyances when dinosaurs interacted with scenery. Those are the headline items, but the patch also includes a bunch of stability and performance tweaks under the hood that won't always be obvious on first load, but should make the whole experience feel smoother over long play sessions. Let me explain the research node issue, because that affected a lot of challenge mode players and people who rely on those nodes for milestone progression. Some challenge-specific research nodes weren't appearing correctly in the research UI, which made several objectives impossible to complete without workarounds. Imagine spending real time chasing a challenge only to find the research option you need simply isn't visible. Frustrating, right? The fix restores those nodes to the correct places in the research screen so you can plan your research paths without having to rely on guesswork or external spreadsheets. Practically, that means if you open up the research tree after the hotfix and a node is still missing, the first thing to do is reload your save or verify the game files because, in most cases, the patch designed to place those nodes where they belong on load. If you run into a node that still looks off, make a note of exactly which challenge it's tied to and report it. The devs have been clear they want precise repro steps so they can chase anything rare that the hotfix didn't catch. The fossil extraction bug is another big one because it can stop a core loop cold. For players who move their science center or rearrange buildings, there was a situation where fossil extraction tasks could enter a state where they never finished, effectively pausing an entire queue of excavations. That's particularly painful for people running high-throughput fossil operations because it halts the supply of DNA and dribbles down mission progress and research. The hotfix includes logic to detect and recover stuck extraction tasks and prevents the state from happening again when the science center's footprint changes. Transfer extraction had frozen before, it should unfreeze after you apply the patch and reload your save. If it doesn't, again, get the save ID and reproduction steps to the official support route so they can catch the edge case. There were also stability improvements around blueprint splitting. This is more technical, but it matters if you like building elaborate compound structures and splitting blueprints into sections for reuse. Under specific conditions, splitting a blueprint's building sections could cause a crash. That sounds niche, but a handful of players hit it consistently during longer sandbox sessions. The hotfix addresses the memory handling and state transition that led to that crash. So for builders who maintain sprawling or modular facility layouts, you should find the operation safer now. It's still a good habit to save before big structural edits. Call it a preemptive save ritual, but you should be able to split and reapply blueprints with far less chance of losing progress. Pathfinding and scenery interactions were also touched. Some dinosaurs were getting blocked or taking weird detours around scenery objects, and in a few cases they could become stuck beneath decorative elements that the game now treats more intelligently. The team adjusted how navmesh and collision interact with scenery so the beast can navigate more naturally. This should especially help large herbivores and tall theropods that previously had trouble with low bridges, overhangs, or dense tree placements. You might notice smoother guest routing as well, because a lot of those pathfinding systems share the same underlying architecture. Beyond the headline fixes, the hotfix also rolled up a smattering of smaller crash fixes and performance optimizations. Those are the sorts of changes you won't necessarily see in a single clip, but they make a difference when you run multiple parks, load many assets, or leave a sandbox session rolling for hours. If you're someone who records long-form content or streams marathon build sessions, these improvements should reduce the odds of an interruption that spoils a take. Now let me give you practical tips for dealing with the update in your own game. First, after the patch hits, restart your platform client. Steam, Xbox, PlayStation Store, because sometimes the patch requires a client refresh to apply correctly. Then, launch the game, but don't immediately jump into radical edits. Instead, load a save you care about and let it sit for a few minutes to allow any autosave cycles or background recovery systems to finish. If you had a fossil extraction stuck before the hotfix, check the Science Center queue and the excavation log. The patch should have either resumed or cleared the stuck jobs. If you're a builder, try a small blueprint split test before executing it on a massive structure, just to confirm the crash path is resolved for your particular layout. If you're someone who documents or shares bugs, this is a good time to take screenshots or video captures of any lingering problems and post them with console output or save IDs to Frontier's official support channels. The devs have asked for precise repro steps for anything the hotfix didn't fully address. Community reporting really helps prioritize follow-up work, especially when the issue only happens on certain combinations of DLC, map settings, or mod configurations. Speaking of mods, if you use them, make sure they're updated for the latest build. Mods that hook into research systems or building code are the most likely culprits for keeping old behavior around, even after you patch the base game. For content creators, this update gives you a couple of angles to explore beyond a straightforward patch read-through. You can run a before and after comparison showing a stuck fossil queue becoming responsive, demonstrate any previously missing research nodes reappearing in the UI, or record a short stress test with heavy building edits to show the new stability in action. People love to see tangible fixes they can verify in their own saves. If you have friends who experienced problems, invite them to run the same tests on stream and compare results. That community verification adds credibility and helps identify any remaining edge cases. I want to acknowledge the balance between small hotfixes and longer-term feature updates, because that's part of the conversation players are having. Hotfixes like this are focused and surgical. They target regressions and breakages introduced by prior updates. They're not intended to add new content or overhaul systems that's saved for larger patches. If you're hoping for bigger mechanical changes or new dinosaur behaviors, keep an eye on the official roadmap and developer diaries for those larger milestones. But for day-to-day playability, these hotfixes are essential. They keep the experience stable while the team iterates on new content and features. It's also worth calling out how this kind of patching affects long-term saves. The team tends to try to avoid making structural save-breaking changes mid-cycle, so most hotfixes aim to be as non-invasive as possible. However, it's still wise to archive a backup of important saves before major updates. This is one of those rare moments where that habit pays off. If anything looks wrong after you update, missing assets, odd UI behavior, try rolling back to a backup save to see if the issue is reproducible. If it is, provide those logs to support so they can match the state of your save with their telemetry data. Community reaction has been a mixture of relief for the fixes and impatience for deeper adjustments, which is a fair mix given the expectations players have after release. The dev team has been communicating that this hotfix was prioritized to unblock specific play loops, and they've signaled that they're still actively researching the larger items that need more invasive changes. That means more work is likely coming. But the current patch should make your immediate play sessions far less likely to be interrupted by the regressions it addresses. If you want to present this on YouTube in a way that keeps viewers engaged, mix practical demonstration with developer context and personal opinion. Walk through the fixes in your own save so viewers can see the before and after. Explain why the fossil extraction fix matters in terms of game loops and player investment.